Welcome to Video City, where there's no membership required and demons aren't going to ring the doorbell. I'm Brent.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Travis.
And today, it's the end of a long recording session here for us, and we are ending on a treat. I'm so excited. This is Joe's day. We are doing 1987's The Gate. I am so psyched for this. Had never seen it before. This is a Joe pick. Joe, first off, thank you.
You know what? You're welcome.
Yeah. I mean, double thank you. It was the last film that I watched out of our selection for this time. I saved it for last, and it was a treat then. It's a treat here at the end of our recording session today. I love it. So tell us about your experience with The Gate.
I don't remember how we came across this, but I watched this like 100 times growing up. I'm not sure if we borrowed it or we just rented it a whole bunch, because this was always in like the 99-cent rentals.
Yeah.
But we watched this as often as we could. This movie scared the shit out of me as a kid.
I think it would have scared the shit out of me too.
But it was a fun scared the shit out of me.
Right.
Not like I'm going to have nightmares about this. Like, I'm terrified the whole time. This is fun.
Yeah, it's that kind of thrill ride, like, that's scary,
Yeah.
but exciting.
And then at the end, you want to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack rules. The acting holds up. Mostly. But, you know, it's 87.
Yeah. And this is a shoestring budget. Well, not shoestring, but it's not super big budget.
No, it's a few million.
Yeah.
Which in movies is not much.
Yeah.
But we watched it all the time.
Was this one that y'all owned, or was this just like a constant
we didn't
rental?
own it. Constant rental, catch it on TV.
Yeah, okay.
Because there was a while where it was on like those Saturday afternoon movies.
Yeah, and really, I think, is this rated R?
I don't think it is. I don't think it has like a lot of bad language.
No, it's PG-13.
It's PG-13? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of violence.
There's no gory gore.
Right.
There's some, oh, what the fuck gore.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's definitely 87.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you definitely got some, here's the warning out, you get some inappropriate language.
Yeah.
You know, it's real product of its time. But other than that, which they would absolutely play on TV without question, I'm sure. There's good PG-13 horror, and I think this is a perfect fucking example of it.
Yeah, I don't think it would possibly be PG-13 now.
No.
Like if they released this now, it'd be an R.
It would be an R, but mostly because of the language, I think, and not like the insensitive language we're talking about, and not. I don't think they drop a lot of F-bombs, if any. In
No, and there's not a lot of bad imagery.
Yeah,
Well, they do drop some F-bombs, but not the ones you're talking about.
That's right. Yeah,
Ooh, yeah, true.
yeah.
I did hear, in doing a little research on the back of this, that it's got the PG-13, but the original script went way darker.
Yeah, a lot harder. I read that as
Yeah.
well, where it was supposed to be a lot more grim and
This
kind of
is already
dark.
pretty grim.
It is, but it was supposed to be like more of like a citywide kind of deal
Okay.
just kind
one
of
Where there's
house
like
in this
rapes
house.
and murders in the street kind of deal.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
Hell's released kind
Yeah.
of deal.
Like
Yeah.
Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth.
That's
Yeah.
what they kind of compared it to. It could have gone the Hellraiser direction.
Yeah. Which would have been a very different fucking vibe.
I
in this
wish
movie.
this existed now. Because if there's one thing I like, it's a Hellraiser.
Yeah?
Oh, the first two? Amazing.
I mean, the first one, yeah. I don't
Oh,
think
you
I've
need
seen
to see
Hellraiser
2. 2 is so good.
Okay, I have seen Hellraiser 3, though.
Oh, that one sucks. But it's fun.
It was bad, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when is
That was the last one that was fun bad. After that, they just get
they were
bad.
bad. Yeah. Yeah, so, okay. Travis, had you ever seen The Gate?
I had not seen this. Joe actually introduced me to this movie a couple years ago, so I saw it for the first time then.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it. I mean, we're
I
kind of
just
giving
watched
it away.
it to watch it then. It wasn't, as
Right.
anything else. There was didn't really dive into it. So rewatching again this time, totally hold up.
Yeah.
Still great.
Yeah, I had never heard of it. I mean, obviously, I've this is not a cast of well-known people. This is
You have Steven Dorff,
Steven Dorff.
who is in a few things.
Yeah,
He was in Blade 1.
he was in Blade. Yeah, and some other stuff.
Yeah, nothing that
I can't
really
remember
jumps
any
to
of
mind.
them. Yeah, but he was in Blade. And a lot of it is really just like a lot of TV actors, kind of,
Yeah,
and,
of their time.
And some, Travis actually let us know, are more current.
Jennifer Irwin. She's
Jennifer
one of the
Irwin.
sisters.
Yeah,
She recently, had a role on The Goldbergs.
Yeah.
Which is,
and you said on Eastbound and Down.
she
as well.
was, yes, the brother's wife on Eastbound and Down.
Yeah. And that's where I guess I would have known
When Kenny
it from.
says in the very first episode, "Don't stare at me with those dead eyes, you church bitch," that's who he's talking
that's
to.
who it is.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So, I had never heard of this. The cover looks kind of familiar, but I was absolutely a little coward baby growing up, and I would have never rented a horror movie.
Oh, see, that's exactly what I went for when I was a kid.
Yeah.
If the cover looked spooky and cool, like, did you ever see the cover for Monkey Shines?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hated that cover.
I loved that cover.
Yeah. Scared the shit out of me.
That Child's Play. They all
Yeah.
had great covers.
I think I saw Child's Play, but like I don't think I saw.
With the Jack in the Box and the shears.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good cover.
I think I didn't see like the first Friday the 13th until I was well into my 20s.
My parents were not good at shielding us from
Yeah.
things we shouldn't see. They were just like, all right, you two fat nerds, go run to the 99-cent section and pick something so that you don't try to talk to us.
Right. Yeah.
And it worked.
I probably could have had that. I don't think there was a lot of supervision, but it was really just I was a big scared baby, and
This is how I got into like trauma movies when I was 10.
Yeah.
And Friday the 13th, I started those way too early.
Yeah.
See, what he really did it for was the boobs,
Right. Well,
because in those movies
There's
there's always a boob.
you can
always.
you get spooked.
The
you get some
only
boob,
two times I regretted it were It, the Tim Curry one, because that
Terrifying.
traumatized me.
Yeah.
And Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Also traumatized me.
Also traumatized you.
Also with clowns.
Okay.
So it's a clown
thing.
It's a terrifying nightmare thing.
Okay.
These things shouldn't exist.
Okay. But clowns.
Clowns.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a clown thing. Okay.
There were some clowns.
I
who
mean,
were
this
bad.
is also a story of things that shouldn't exist, you know.
No,
like-
this is fine.
okay.
This is just-
these are just demons
The,
from hell.
the original Minions.
Yeah.
That's how, if you go back and listen to the cast, they refer to them as the Minions.
Really?
The demons, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like Despicable Me.
Yeah.
The prequel.
Only better.
Well, I guess
Only
not
better.
a prequel. It's just the origin.
This is just the origin story, which I
Yeah.
guess is kind of this is Despicable Me 0.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, yeah, this is what
like
happened.
Yakuza 0.
Yes, exactly. So, this was spoiler alert. It's a fucking treat.
Yeah.
Starts kind of in a way where I'm like, it's fine, but man, when the shit hits the fan in
It's
this
such
movie,
a good misleading start because you're like, okay, it's just a little family movie. I
Yeah.
guess some shenanigans will happen.
yeah.
And then it just goes from like 0 to fucked
Yeah.
super fast.
And it rules. And then
Yeah.
it's all that way to the very, very end.
Yep.
Like, so it takes a little while to get going. I think it takes there's about an hour and 20-minute movie, just under an hour and a half. And I think it takes about 30 minutes for it to kind of hit, maybe 40, almost for it to really go. You get some of the spookies, you get the lights flickering and all that. And Glenn, Stephen Dorff's character, is obviously kind of dread the whole time. But what I really liked about this is it's some of my favorite kind of horror is I always call it dream logic horror, where like this film feels like, I mean, Dorff is, I think, 11 or 12 when this movie was made. And it's like, this is the kind of nightmare I would have when I was like 11 or 12. It kind of has
horrible
that
things
feel.
just happen, then go away.
Yeah, and then just happen again, and
Yep.
it's kind of like getting to a later part of it. The whole deal with the guy in the wall, like the workman, where Terry's like, "Oh, I lied about that.
I just made that shit up.
But then it becomes real, and it's kind of like, oh, and it just happens out of nowhere, and now all of a sudden he's the big bad until it goes
it's
away.
so good.
Yeah, it's just like that dream logic of like, this is a kid's nightmare, and I think it does that fucking perfectly well. So super, super happy with it. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about what was going on. Or I guess, I always forget. Do I give my little breakdown of it first, and then we talk about what was happening in there?
Let me do this real
Yeah,
quick since
yeah.
we just kind of vamped on it for a while.
Sure.
So it was released May 15th, 1987. I was recently 2 years old because I was
That's how
2 years
birthdays
old.
work.
That's how life works. The number one movie is action comedy Ishtar, starring Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman,
Yep.
which I have never heard of.
I have heard of it because the guys at Red Letter Media had a running gag about it. Specifically, the trailer to Ishtar.
I didn't find out about it until I did that, and then from what I've heard about it, it's notoriously supposed to be the worst movie of all time.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Now, hearkening back to a previous discussion, the number one song is U2's With or Without You.
We have already talked about you two, so I think I don't want to redo that bit.
Nope.
Yeah.
So moving on to the alternative charts. The number one on the chart was nothing because it's 1987 and there are no alternative charts. But on CBS tonight, it's a new episode of Dallas, Fall of the House of Ewing. Bobby and Pam's dreams of a serene, happy future are shattered. The impending loss of Ewing Oil has a desperate JR fighting for his life while a smug Jeremy Wendell reveals his plot to him.
Wow.
And on May 17th of 1987, it's the end of one of the best eras of sitcom history when Shelley Long's final episode as Diane Chambers airs on the TV show Cheers.
Wow.
Ooh, okay.
The Diane era of Cheers was amazing.
Yeah.
How long was that era?
Not long enough, because then they brought in Kirstie Alley.
You know, we talked, I think it was last recording we did about that bass guy or that guitar guy who looked way older than...
Oh, Bonamassa.
Yeah, Bonamassa. And it was the thing where people recently showed me, like, while Cheers was being filmed, they showed the actual ages of everyone, and they're, like, in their early to mid-30s.
And they
Yeah.
all look like they're in their late
They're all
40s.
younger than us.
Yeah, they're all younger than we are now.
They look...
And they look like my dad does now. He's 72.
Well, on May 11th, the first heart-lung transplant takes place in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh,
Shit.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
They got those hard A's up there in Baltimore.
You love East Coast accent.
I love Pennsylvania accents.
Yeah.
There's a comic out now that's from Baltimore, and he goes all about it where he says like the O. It's like, oh. He's like, that's a domestic abuse air raid siren.
Jesus. If we ever cover Groundhog Day, will you do the whole thing in Pennsylvania?
Oh, I would love to.
Let's
if
go.
you give me like a couple of days to listen to nothing but Baltimore,
Really drill it in.
It dives into my regular speech because I love to hear it so much that I'll throw that O in there.
You kind of say, like, dude, like with a little
I
bit
know
of a,
because
yeah.
I love it. Born and raised in Texas, I love that garbage accent so much. I just pipe it in whenever I can.
He's a philaboo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most importantly, May 27th, Michael Jordan was awarded Seagram's Award as the NBA's Player of the Year, an award determined by a computerized statistical analysis of players based on their positions. Jordan's computerized score of 80.81 beat out Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Charles Barkley. Suck on that, nerds.
Wow. The king. He's the best to ever do it.
Right?
We love Michael Jordan.
Apparently.
I mean, I guess it's a running bit. So, yep, he's the GOAT, baby.
Friend of the show, Michael Jordan.
Friend of the show. The greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. Anything else?
Well, I have a fun fact about this movie.
Let's go.
That ties into a previous episode.
Sure.
In 2011, Alex Winter tried to remake this movie in 3D.
Really?
Yep.
In 2011?
Yeah, 2011.
Okay.
stopped
It went into production and everything, and then it fell apart. Never happened.
Would he have done it like in the style of Freaked, where we've gotten some
I hope not.
wacky edgelord humor in it?
Well, this is 2011, so maybe.
So
he
probably.
grew out of it.
Around there is when the director, Tybor, directed his last film, which was Spiders 3D.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember Spiders 3D.
no, I don't.
But that was Tybor's last film.
You asked me, I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember it?
I remember, I guarantee you I never saw it.
Uh-huh. Was
But
this like
I-
a straight to DVD thing? Or
No,
was this
no,
in
it was, I
theaters?
assume it was, in theaters. I remember
assume
Spiders.
it was DVD. With the like stuck-in glasses in the case.
Maybe so.
Could have.
The
Yeah.
red blues.
I feel like I could see in 2009 and 2012 a Spiders 3D movie coming out.
Maybe.
I saw Big Ass Spider.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of, was Big Ass Spider. But I remember a Spider movie.
Big
from
Ass
back in
Spider
the
was
day.
fun.
That was an actual
It had
movie.
Arquette in it.
I thought that
Really?
was Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh, I'm mixing up my big spiders. This one had me and my friend Gina only called him Fat Kitty Cop from Heroes.
Okay.
It
Never
was
saw
Matt Parkman
Heroes.
on Heroes.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't fucking matter because Heroes was a shit show, and this
Uh-huh.
movie was kind of good. But
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little more about the director. So, The Gate is the studio directorial debut of Canadian director Tibor Takash. Takash is basically most well known for this movie, or I guess also Spiders 3D, if we want to go by based off what Travis is saying. But he also directed the Showtime original movie Sabrina the Teenage Witch, starring Melissa Joan Hart, which went on to become a long-running TV series of the same name. And he also directed 2 episodes of Red Shoe Diaries, which went on to become some of the first softcore that I... So the movie stars a young Steven Dorff as Glenn and Louis Tripapa as Glenn's friend Terry and Krista Denton as Glenn's older sister Al. Is it Alexandra, yeah. So the movie takes place over
Albert.
one extremely fucked up weekend.
Al Bundy.
Where Glenn and Al's parents leave the kids at home. Al throws a party with her shithead friends, and Glenn and Terry accidentally summon demons from the bowels of hell, who proceed to wreak psychological and physical havoc on the kids and their friends, and disrespect the absolute shit out of the saddest dog who's ever existed. So that is my summation of The Gate.
It's the wildest episode of Married with Children ever.
Yeah. And so I say let's get right to it.
Yeah, let's dig into this feast.
The New Century Vista Corporation is who produced this. Great work. Director of photography Thomas Vamos. And when I looked at the runtime, I thought that checks out.
Oh. So we start with a really kick-ass theme song.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
It's that great 80s like wavetable era.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. It's Michael Honig and Peter Robinson, and they did The Wraith, The Gate, and they did the remake of The Blob.
Okay.
One with that ugly Dillon brother.
Sure.
What's Matt Dillon's brother? Kevin Dillon?
Kevin Dillon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome.
I remember the Blob remake.
It freaked me out.
It freaked me out too. I don't like the Blob. It freaked
I
me.
love the Blob.
Absorbing people. Ugh, it's terrible. It's like a gelatinous cube kind of deal. I don't like it.
We'll watch it.
Oh yeah, for sure. One of these days. So we start here, and like this feels like a real ass neighborhood. Like it's not a set neighborhood.
No,
This feels like
it's
an actual
actually
Toronto
a new
neighborhood.
construction neighborhood.
Yeah,
they're just now building it.
It feels like it too.
Because none of the backyard scenes are actually filmed in the backyard. All the backyard scenes are on set. Because they were building all the houses around it, yeah.
Okay, so that does make sense because I was like, hey, first off, like, remember bicycles? Remember when we could step outside for more than 5 minutes? That was great. But also, that is the most fucking desolate neighborhood ever. Like, there's no one there.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I also, as the kind of vibe of the movie went on, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense because it's the kind of dream logic thing, which, speaking of, the movie starts where Glenn, young Steven Dorff, is walking around the house. No one's there. He's calling out for his parents. He's calling out for Al. And just shit's getting real weird.
And it goes from day to night real quick.
In like the blink of an eye, he steps out in the back. There's a storm afoot, and he is going to his treehouse, which exists. Okay, so my first little ask is, did y'all know anyone who had tree houses?
No.
Me neither.
I fucking wish.
Well, I knew one kid. This kid, Mark, in my hometown.
Sounds like a real asshole.
Yeah. No, he was actually a real sweet kid. And his
Well,
mom
he's
was
an
nice,
asshole
too.
for having a treehouse.
Well, what a prick, right? What a privileged little asshole. I mean, tree houses are one of those things that are so ubiquitous with like kids movies and kid stuff. Like Bart Simpson had a treehouse and The Simpsons. And it's like, they look so fucking cool. It's like your little fucking... You go up it like a little goblin and
it's your own little like just hideaway place.
Yeah,
I never had that. I never went to camp.
Yeah, never
I
went
did
to
not
camp.
have a movie childhood.
Yeah.
Well, I went to camp.
You did?
I get made fun of it a lot. It was diabetes camp, but
Really? They have a diabetes camp? You just
Yes.
meet other kids with
Right?
diabetes?
it
and
was
learn
it
how
was a
to-
camp of all diabetics.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
I really enjoyed it.
They
Yeah.
didn't have a sweet time.
Yeah.
But anytime I say that now, anytime I say that out loud, somebody, most notorious my wife, will go, I'm Scott Melkson, I have diabetes. It's a South Park reference. They have
Okay.
a character on South Park who has diabetes, and all they do is dog on this kid.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you again for keeping me up to date on South Park.
Well, this was all the South Park references I've given you are years old.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, but you're still keeping me up to it's sooner than I've ever done it. So Glenn goes out to the treehouse.
So
and
yeah, as
Karmic
you would during
Justice,
a huge storm, you would climb into a tree,
right into the highest point
into a
around.
fragile wooden structure.
Yeah, that already looks like it's falling apart. Karmic Justice hits immediately because this kid does not deserve a treehouse. Lightning strikes the tree, and the treehouse falls to the ground with Glenn in it. And it turns out it was just a dream.
So, do they ever explain why the tree is falling over the next day?
No,
No.
They never
the big
say why the
motive in
tree
this
is
movie
over.
is it just happened.
Yeah. I think that's some of the dream logic.
So, like,
stuff.
what was that dream? Had the tree been falling over for days?
Or maybe
and
the
he
dream
like,
was just his
"Oh."
way of processing the loss of the treehouse.
Yeah, because he
this
wakes
has
up the
already
next day
happened.
and he hears the workers,
Yeah, he's
tearing
got-
it down.
He's got tractors and bobcats in his backyard.
Yeah.
He's also got the world's largest backyard.
Yeah.
Like, kid fucked. Holy moly.
Well, this was the 80s, man. His parents probably got that house with that backyard for about $25.
Yeah, they each work at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. I did want to say, like, when the lightning hits the treehouse in the dream, it is like thunderclap dot wave. Like, it's a cow, cow. Like, we've all heard that sound effect a million fucking times.
I guess it would be Tim Hortons. This is Canada.
Yes.
We have a Tim Hortons here, thank you.
Are we Canada now?
Nope. One of the only Tim Hortons in America is, I guess, technically Katy. It's at 99 and Clay. I stop by there every morning on the way to my office.
Is the coffee good? Never had
It's
it.
delightful. They make new coffee every 20 minutes, and they throw that old shit out.
Sounds wasteful. All right.
Yeah,
The world's
that's what
dying,
everybody
Cloud.
was very bummed out about, and they're like, yeah, we don't care. Fresh coffee.
Okay. Well, good for them, I guess. One note I did want to say is when Glenn wakes up from the dream, we get the first shot of his dog Angus.
Oh, poor Angus.
The best dog ever.
What a sweet little boy.
Everybody
boy.
in this movie, I was going to use a foul word, they're all dickbags.
They're all assholes.
They're all
the fucking
dickbags.
Angus. But I my note was Sprocket is there to warn this kid about Fraggles, but he disregards him. I didn't know how accurate that was actually kind of going to be, like how they're kind of like little fucked up little
But nope,
Fraggles.
you got it.
Kind of got it, yeah. So I like how they just straight up fuck this kid's treehouse up. He finds a geode in the root
and
of
he's
the
a
tree.
fucking nerd.
Yeah, well,
So that just gets him going.
but like I was about to say a geode in the tree, which would actually fucking rule because every kid loves geodes, and by every kid I mean me as a child. I fucking love geodes. They're big hollow egg rocks with jewels
With crystals
inside.
in 'em.
Yeah, how cool is that shit?
Crystals were a big thing when we were young.
Yeah. This is the first scene where we see Terry, who is Glenn's friend, who is an interesting combination of like both the nerdy friend and the punk bad kid friend who gets the hero into trouble.
Yeah, he's like that weird kid that plays Warhammer 40K.
Yeah. But
Definitely that
he's
kid.
got like the combed hair and the glasses to like, kind of like classic nerd friend, but he always is wearing like metal or
his
like
battle
punk
vest.
shirts.
Yeah.
Goth Millhouse.
Yeah. Yes, he is absolutely Goth Millhouse. So while they're digging in the hole, Glenn actually gets like a big splinter in his hand, and he pulls out and there's a little bit of blood. That's important. We'll get back to that later. So they find an even larger uncracked geode.
And that's why they're excited, because we know how much the big geodes sell for.
Yeah.
You can get like $100.
Yeah.
And they find the even bigger one, and they're like, shit, we're going to be rich.
Yep. Terry's like, I'm going to buy 8,000 different fucking heavy metal albums, and
I'm going to buy Dio's entire catalog.
I'm going to buy Dio.
I'm going to buy Dio. I'm going to buy all of the advanced Dungeons and Dragons books and maps.
And
you
then
know?
Glenn's just like, I'm going to get more model rockets.
Yeah, because he's a fucking dork. Let's talk about Glenn.
Glenn's a fucking dork.
He's like a fucking dork.
His original jacket is what? Just NASA patches all
Yeah.
over it? He's got his buddy who's like wearing, battle vests.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Hey, NASA and rockets
Man,
are
just
pretty
wait
cool.
till this kid gets a little older and gets to see October Sky.
Yeah.
Man, he's going to be in love.
He's going to love it. Yeah. And even Terry's just going to smoke weed the entire time,
Yep.
which kind of like, I think that kind of tracks with what happens in
I
the
can't
game,
wait
too.
to watch the second one.
Yeah. So we see the first shot of Al, the sister, and at first she seems kind of like asshole older sister, like ugh.
She goes in and out of asshole older sister a lot.
Yeah. By the end, spoiler alert, she's redeemed. Like Al's got a heart of gold. But when I first saw her, I just noticed she's wearing some kind of sport t-shirt jersey thing with a 88 on the front, and I was like, uh-oh, sorry, I really feel bad and hate the fact that online Nazis have broken my brain, and I could only see one thing when I saw that. So anyway, she fucks off to the Hitler Youth meeting or whatever.
Keep
Now
an eye on her.
that was a blue and gray shirt. Mm-hmm. And number 88, I don't know if it was in 87, played for America's team, was Michael Irvin for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, there we go.
So it could have been Dallas Cowboys colors.
Yeah. It looked kind of like Dallas
I know
Cowboys.
this is a Canadian movie,
Yeah.
and Dallas is America's team.
But
Also, being from Houston,
It's
fuck
flat
Dallas.
Kind of green. It could be Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't tell us it's in Canada.
That's true.
It's
Also,
just anywhere
I have no
North
problem
America.
pissing off all Dallas people.
Oh, yeah. No, that's
a
absolutely
given.
Yeah. It's a fucking city full of
Hey, Dallas, I'm bringing it back. Drink my blood.
So now we also see as Al is leaving, she goes and joins her friends in their little like some dickbad guys like hot rod car, and she's
geez.
hops in the back like, let's go to school or whatever the fuck it is.
They're probably
doing.
going to the mall.
Oh,
Yeah, to
they're
the mall.
Robin Sparkles the shit out of this. I don't know if you knew Robin
Oh,
Sparkles.
let's go
is.
to the mall.
Let's go to the mall.
That's yes, hell yeah, that rolls. So we get a little shot of Angus
Terry.
sitting by the hole where the tree used to be, and a thing that's important to note is even kind of right away the hole's a little too deep for a tree to be there, and when Terry and Glenn are looking in it deeper, like the bottom kind of falls out of it.
Yeah.
and it's a real
Every
it's a
time we
chasm.
see the hole, basically, it's deeper.
It's deeper and deeper. So, as they're kind of talking, Terry just decides to capture some fucking moths and kill them.
Yeah, because he will be a serial
'Cause,
killer.
Yeah, he will be a serial killer. And it's funny. So Glenn says, he goes, hey, poke some holes in that thing or they're going to die. And Terry's basically like, I don't give a shit.
He's like, nah.
And Glenn says, like, that's very cruel. I'll come back to that in a little bit. So then we see Dad. That is literally what he's
Yep.
credited as. Glenn's dad. He walks back, sees the hole, and just decides to blame his fucking kid for it. Based on nothing, even though there was a whole ass construction team.
Yeah, tearing out a tree.
Yeah, which could leave a hole. He goes out, he calls for Glenn, and he comes in. They tell, he and mom called mom, tell Al and Glenn they're going to be going out of town for the next few days. Al's going to be watching after Glenn, but he makes sure to ground Glenn before dinner's over.
And this dinner, this is how you do know it's Canada. They have the HP brown sauce.
They
on
do
the
have
table.
HP brown sauce on the table.
One thing I wanted to point out that is just hilarious to me, when they're in the backyard and the dad sees the hole, right before the dirt falls, you see like an arm underneath the dirt just kind of move a little bit to make the dirt shift.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, I love HD.
Oh yeah, it's great. Like you
Oh, it's
really
so
get
good.
warts and all, baby.
Yep.
One funny thing is that like you talked about Glenn's obsession with space and the model rockets.
Yeah.
And he shows that on the house there's a big burn mark where he apparently shot a model rocket into the side of the home. So Dad won't let him do it anymore without supervision. And Terry goes, I could supervise. And that was actually the most sound kid logic. Like I could absolutely be like, well, I could supervise.
Yeah, because Terry does look like he's
Semantics.
maybe 1 year older than
Yeah,
Glenn.
like a little older, grade ahead,
Yep.
but they still hang out during the summer or whatever, Maybe don't see each other at school that much, but,
But, they're probably in the same neighborhood,
Yeah.
same street.
yeah, the same lonely
I got to assume they
neighborhood.
do ride their bikes back and forth.
They're the only other family in that neighborhood.
And we do see also, speaking of dirt effects with the hand thing, I also love the weird blue screened dirt flying out of the hole. Like it's just I'm like, you couldn't just get like a fucking like a leaf blower
You
to
couldn't
just spray some
hire
dirt.
someone to
Mel
stand in
Brooks
there.
bought all the fans. He bought them all.
This fucking 8 years earlier.
Hey, he was prepared.
He's like, I got a big movie coming up. It's gonna turn everything around.
oh no.
Yeah. So they're staying alone for 3 whole days. They do kind of, the parents at the lunch, this is where you kind of hear that Terry is a little bit of a bad influence on Glenn. They kind of do that. Glenn's mom gives the classic, well, if Terry jumped off a bridge, would you? Glenn says, sure, why not? And that kid is 100% right. I never liked that thing because I'm like, if everyone's doing it, I assume it's safe. Like, why would they be doing it? Well, you think I'm going to jump before I see what happens to the person that jumped before me?
Did he lose both of his legs in the fall? Then no, I'm not doing
If
it.
it's like, what if they jumped off a bridge? Would you do it? I'm like, is there water underneath it?
Yeah.
Are they just swimming
Is the bridge
and fine?
like 5 to 10 feet up?
Yeah.
Into water that's deep?
Yeah, come on,
sounds
mom
fun.
and dad. Use some goddamn logic.
Yeah, come on, guys. Let's, come on. Yeah, I'm pissed off about the grounding. I think that's strange. So, yeah, Terry's a little strange is the word the mom uses because Terry's mom had recently passed away, so he's kind of going through some shit.
He's in a phase.
Yeah, the dad is kind of reestablishing that as well as he talks to Glenn. And Glenn is having some issues here. Glenn's also having some fears. Glenn's a little bit of a crybaby. I think
He's scared
that's-
of the dark.
Scared of the dark. His dad's going to turn alive. He goes, "Hey, don't do that." But apparently, he's acting a little weird. Something's been on his mind lately. He
Yeah.
had the weird dream, but he does seem to be kind of a general scaredy pants a little bit.
I thought you were just about to say scaredy pants little bitch.
No, I'm not going to insult a child like that.
Not yet.
Who is this? Fucking Ella McGregor?
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. So now Glenn goes back to sleep. We notice that he kind of starts, hearing some weird noises already. So, but is this in his head or is something going on? We don't know. He looks out the window and we notice that he actually has kept the death jar of moths. And I'm like, who's cruel now, you piece of shit? They're literally set by a window. Let them out.
Poke a hole, just like you wanted.
Yeah.
Harry's not here to bully
There's
you.
still no food, though.
But
They're going to die.
I mean, they're going to die, but at least, let them starve to death. Let them out. You're right by a window.
They can eat on one another.
But we also soon find out why he would not let him out the window is because right next to his window is an enormous fucking bug zapper.
I grew up, we had that same exact bug zapper.
The same size one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Gigantic, glowing blue, that big frame around it.
Yeah.
It was entertainment back then.
Yep. I mean, when a moth hit that thing,
When I moved out,
went off.
I took that to Austin with me.
No shit.
Yeah, so me and Dan Rooney would be out on the balcony just smoking.
Yeah.
And just pop.
Pop. Yeah, and when you get a big fucking moth hit that thing.
Oh, you get the juicy ones.
Yeah, it would be like shit.
Best was in the summer when you get a wasp in it.
Yeah.
Those things pop.
Yeah, because they got the kind of harder outsides.
It was good.
Yeah. So mom and dad leave, and one thing they do say, and I thought this would come to something later, is they say, hey, make sure to give Angus his medicine. Angus the dog is very old.
They give Angus his medicine.
He's 97 in dog years.
In dog years, which it's 7 years, so that dog is like 20-something, I think.
And they also pull the ultimate 80s move where they say, and no parties. And then they immediately hard cut to the party.
I was like, that to me is a predictable trope, but it pops me every time. And no parties. Party. Yeah, exactly.
And this party, again, all these are supposed to be 16-year-old kids.
Uh-huh.
Now, I do know Al, as an actress in this, she's actually only like 14 or 15 years old.
She's 15 when they made this movie.
Okay.
So I
Age
assume
appropriate.
maybe all these kids are close to the same age, maybe not. But all of these kids are dressing like they're 28 years old, partying in the 80s.
Well, I mean, they're trying to be cool.
Yeah.
You know?
They're
trying
doing
to dress
designer
like adults.
drugs.
Yeah.
Listening to New Wave.
They're smoking in the house and drinking.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can have a party when your parents are. You probably don't smoke in the house. Now,
Even
not
then,
to say
yeah.
I didn't, but you probably shouldn't.
Probably shouldn't. I mean, you're risking it there. So I did.
Not a
so
good look.
At one point, Angus comes down and he's like trying to eat the chips. And what it looks like at first, so Al leads him upstairs.
But what it looks like
is she just fucking scruffs this, like grabs this dog by the hair and just drags him. And I was like, oh, she is a Nazi. But we do see in the next thing that he actually he's wearing a collar. So she's just leading him by the collar.
And then
So, little less cruel than I
jumps
actually
into
thought
the
it
boys'
was.
room, and they're the big Geo. They're trying to crack the big Geo to open. Terry's even being a dick to
Which
the
is,
dog.
of course, an egg from hell.
when Terry sees the dog, here's my note. Terry says, blow off, Angus. You stink.
Yep.
Fuck Terry.
Fuck Terry.
He gets what he deserves.
Look at that sweet and the dog, like, so then you think Glenn, the owner, will like comfort the dog. I mean, he does tell Terry, hey man, he's 97, he's old. But then he doesn't pet the dog. The dog just literally goes and fucks up in the corner and makes a sad sound.
Yeah.
Angus is so mistreated.
I talk a lot of shit.
there are no heroes in
the
this
following
movie. No.
morning, whenever the way that everybody just goes along with their day, I get real mad.
Yeah.
So here's what I have to say about this. They're trying to crack into this thing. Terry goes, hey, you can never crack into it. It's too hard. Steven gives it a try. When they finally bust it open, I think is the funniest part, because I made a note, is they lean into the rock fart. This rock farts. It farts hard. And these guys lean in to look close to get a big old whiff of that
And
rock
their
too.
hair's blowing back.
Yeah.
They're like evil glow, big stink.
If I crack something open and it expelled anything, I'm back. I'm
Right,
flinching.
yeah.
I'm going. These guys go.
No, Dorf just like,
lean
This is
real
like,
in.
this is pre-anthrax scare.
yeah.
Like, they don't have those fears yet. They're just like, oh, cool, rock smoke.
Yeah, this is when you were a kid. You would ride your bicycle and just follow behind the fucking
Mosquito
truck, just spraying the fucking DDT or
For
whatever.
people who don't know,
Yeah.
who don't have mosquito trucks in your neighborhood, we come from the South where mosquitoes are awful.
Yeah, if
and
you
they're
don't
also
live in
problem.
Swamp
they're
Town.
Yeah.
they're the size of small birds.
Uh-huh.
And we would have these trucks that would just go down
They're
the
like
street.
the size of dump trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they would just spray
Deet.
clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah, it's deep.
out of the back.
Yeah.
Just to, and
Big
hey,
clouds.
Hey, it helped.
It helped
It
the mosquitoes. And let me be real with you. Shit kind of smelled good, too.
It's not bad.
When I said you ride your bike behind that shit, That's me, brother.
We use DEET when we go hiking.
Yeah. Yeah, you can spray it on your body. I mean, I think it is non-toxic to people. I don't know if you should inhale big fumes of it.
You should not ride behind the DEET truck.
You shouldn't do what I did, which is why I don't know what numbers
shit.
are anymore. But, we were young, it was a different time.
The internet.
We didn't have the internet.
No
this
one
was
told
back
us we
when
shouldn't
men's
be
were
smelling
men
farts.
and kids inhaled the poison.
Kids died quick.
So they see the geode. The geode's like sparkling
It has
inside.
like 3 LEDs that go off.
Yeah, it farted, as Travis noted, but otherwise it calms down. It just looks like a normal geode, except it carves fucking eldritch runes on this Etch-a-Sketch, or like the little magna
Sesame
board.
Street Magic Slate.
It's like a Woolly Willy.
Yeah, it's like a woolly willy kind of
This is the one where it's like a piece of flimsy plastic over wax.
Yeah.
So when you press into the wax, it sticks to the plastic, and that's your drawing. And then you erase it just by lifting the plastic
You lift
sheet.
the plastic up, right. So now they've created like these runes that, of course, because they're kids and idiots, they make sure to read them phonetically, which, Angus knows this is a bad idea.
Which
but
makes
he's
their
like,
backyard anus very angry.
yeah, it makes the hole in the backyard fart some more gas and get a little bigger. Angus is like, this is fucked
Angus
up.
is like, this fucking sucks.
But this kid's an asshole, and I'm not going to warn him. Also, I'm a dog, and I can't speak. So, because he hasn't turned into...
He's not a mini dinosaur.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. What is this fucking dog? A dinosaur? Exactly. So now we cut down, and this party has turned into a fucking theater kid party. I thought these were the cool kids. Now it's the fucking nerds because they're doing fucking ghost stories. But these are like 25 fucking teenagers.
It went from 1987 Cocaine Club at the Roxy to campfire ghost stories.
Yeah. And by the way, I do have to say, they have the fireplace going, they've lit candles, and it looks like they have fucking hot boxed the shit out of this living room.
You cannot see.
It's so fucking
You have like
smoky.
a 4-foot visibility range in here.
The parents are going to know immediately what was going on when they get back. There is too much smoke here. So some little dipshit is telling a story, and we meet Ewick, who's the beau, the wannabe beau of
Biggest
Al.
asshole in the movie.
Yeah, he's like a fucking useless prick. And I thought he was going to get comeuppance, but he did not.
No.
I thought it set it up perfectly to be like, well, now he goes off to fucking die. And, that doesn't happen. So you hate to see it. But so instead of just telling stories, they decided to get a little more freaky. And the thing is, this was something you do when you're like 10. They start playing light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Well, yeah, we didn't have the ticky talk back then.
Yeah, exactly. You just had to freak each other out.
Yeah,
you had Bloody Mary. And you had light as a feather,
We'd have
stiff as
some
a board.
pizza. We'd dabble in some black magic.
Exactly. We deal with the occult.
And we'd levitate a kid through a light sconce.
And occasionally you'd have a Ouija board.
Yeah, the
Light as a feather,
Ouija.
stiff as a board. You'd watch The Craft on VHS.
Yeah, exactly. The thing about that is we did that before The Craft came out.
Yeah.
So it was a well-known kind of deal.
It was just a thing that happened.
So they try to do light as a feather, stiff as a board with one of their friends, but because it's bullshit, it doesn't work, and they can't lift them. So then Glenn, who was kind of like him and Terry are kind of scoping things out. They went to the kitchen to get some snacks, and they're just watching the party. They're like, "Hey, you tiny boy, get over here." They literally, the thing was, it's a cinch. He's a midget. That's what they say about Glenn. Adult Steven Dorff, by the way, is 5'8", so this no doubt gave him a complex for the rest of his fucking life.
So back then he was as tall as Emilio.
Yes, actually, he was probably a little bit taller. So they do
Friend
light
of
as a
the
feather,
show.
stiff as a board on Glenn, and at first it just looks like they're lifting him. They're just obviously doing the whole thing. This is like 6 people. They can lift a fucking
They can lift a
10-year-old.
small child.
Yeah. And they're lifting him like it's a Jewish wedding or like it's a mitzvah. Like
he's not laying down flat.
He's not laying down flat.
No, he's
he
in
is
a
not
chair-seated
stiff as a board.
position.
He's in a chair position. Yeah, and they're just lifting him like Hava Nagila. Like that's going to start. But then what starts happening is once they get to the top, he actually does start floating and really
He
levitating.
had that fizzy lifting drink.
So spooky shit. It's going off. Yeah, he had the fizzy lifting drink, but then he's like gets into a chandelier. Fucking hits a hard right, floats along the ceiling, grabs onto like a sconce, rips it out of the fucking wall, falls down. He immediately starts crying. He's so ashamed of himself. And look, kid, that was me. I was a kid who, if I was embarrassed, it's fucking over. My face turns beet red. I'm crying. I'm like out of there.
You're hauling ass out of there.
Hauling ass. Never look at me again. But it's funny because at this point, and I thought it was like a one-off deal, someone goes like, it's just an illusion. And I'm like, Motherfucker, he floated halfway across this enormous living room.
That's actually Eric the next morning who goes,
yeah.
no, it's just an illusion.
He says it here, too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so I thought it was a one-offer. I'm like, oh, that's just one of the dumbass friends being like, oh, it's just an illusion.
Well, so
but
then they have the
Eric.
same logic as Prehysteria 3, where they're like, oh, magic dinosaurs? Pfft, every day?
Yeah,
no big deal.
big deal. Happens all the time. Just an illusion. Tricks are what whores do for money. So that's an Arrested Development reference. So, yeah.
Illusions, Michael.
Illusions.
So we get it, at the end, I will say, Al, the sister, kind of, she does go check on Glenn. So there is kind of a little bit of concern there.
This is her
leaves the
dipping
party.
back in.
She's dipping back in, yeah. She'll go back again, but
She has a sine wave of caring that's going on here.
yeah. So they're like, hey, you know what? They both Al and Terry give embarrassing stories. They're like, hey, it's not so bad, like real friend stuff. It's like, I think Terry says he puked on someone. Al does some other embarrassing.
I was like,
story.
this one time at a party, my little brother cried and ran off.
And it was the most embarrassing thing in my life, but I got over it. Yeah. So we cut to Al in her room, and she just is in her PJs and just starts kind of like checking herself out in the mirror. And look, this is a perfectly lovely little, young woman. But what is this? What was the point of that? Is it like, oh, I'll never get the dipshit Eric guy? What was that about? And then we see Terry walk, and I guess he's going to the bathroom. I thought a good gag would have been, then Terry is making the exact pose, checking himself out in the mirror. Like, that'd be a good
Terry's got a tinkle.
Work, Terry.
Nah, he just had to pee. But now we start to get the first, and we do get, by the way, it is very purposeful. We get a shot as he exits the bathroom to go to bed. We do see Angus is asleep in the hallway.
Yes.
Okay. So then Terry goes to bed, or now he goes to tinkle. Glenn is laying in bed, and we start to see all the moths that are out. These are not the
That
dead
he's
moths.
still trying to murder, he thinks.
Yeah, these
Yeah.
are the moths that are on the window,
Yeah.
casting perfect shadows.
Into his room. Like, he's got the spookiest setup with this zapper.
Like the moon is right outside of his window.
I mean, that's kind of what those things, they're bright enough that it kind of is like moonlight.
They are very bright.
Yeah. So the ones in the jar have been long dead. These are their brethren coming for revenge. Like, they're just all slapping up against the
These
window.
are their kin.
Like, we're coming to get your little ass, motherfucker. But, Glenn is embarrassed, and he's already had a couple of bad nights, so he goes and he tries to shut the blinds, to the window.
That'll show him.
Yeah. And he's just he's obviously scared of the dark. He's looking at shadows. They're zooming in on him and, feeling bad. So Terry exits. He took a long piss. We still see that Angus is in the hallway. This is important because at this point, he looks down into the foyer of Glenn and Al's house. The door swings open, and we see a woman clad in white standing on the front porch with, wispy fog coming in.
Now, if you ever find yourself in an 80s movie and you see a woman in a flowy white gown with smoke behind her, just run.
It's never going to turn
It's
out well
never
for you.
good.
No. So,
Especially if she happens to already have been dead.
yeah, which at first, I mean, we instantly know what this is.
Yeah.
But Terry just kind of stares longingly, and we have this kind of overdubbed voice. The woman is holding out her arms. She's not speaking with her mouth. We're hearing like ethereal or, mental, kind of ESP type stuff. She's like, come to me, Terry. I love you. I need you. I love
baby,
you.
oh baby.
Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. And so he comes down, he finally goes, Mom. And we're like, okay, just making sure. He's so happy. His mom, who died a year ago, is just waiting in spooky light, and he embraces her in a hug. We cut back to Glenn, and we get what is the first
Oh, I love
great
it.
effect of the movie.
I love latex wall effects.
We have a latex wall effect. I guess they have like a little it's probably just a big wadded up ball of aluminum foil.
Yep.
And they're just rolling it against the latex wall, so it looks like weird shit's just moving inside the wall.
Why don't they bring practical effects back in a stronger way?
I mean,
they always look so good.
it looks, and again, kind of like you said with the dirt thing, like not all of them are going to work. You can see the hand
Yeah.
moving the dirt, but stuff like this still looks fucking great.
And even with the hand, you can kind of tell moving the dirt. It still looks better than an old blue screen.
yeah, absolutely. But this is like, I mean, they're just moving, like, because it's actual, the posters are moving.
You know what that looks like in the wall? This is a horrible reference because no one will get it. Do you remember Floam?
Yes.
It looks like Floam.
It looks like Floam.
Because it looks like confetti just in slime pushed against the wall.
and like kind of those weird little pop balls
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, like kind of crispy feeling or
That was
whatever.
a weird texture.
Yeah, Floam
I
was an
hated
odd
Floam.
one. I liked Floam.
I was a gack man.
I'm a gack man.
I'm a gack man. My
I'm a
dad was a
Dapper
gack
Dan
man.
man.
I'm a gack man.
No, I don't want Floam. I'm a Dapper Dan man. Sorry. So Terry
brother.
continues embracing. Terry Bollea. Did we mention that this child is played by full-grown Hulk Hogan? Sorry.
Listen here, Glenn, brother, dude.
Listen here, Glenn, dude, Jack. I'm about to run wild on this whole dude. Bad juju, brother. So
Oh god, Beefcake's gonna be in this then.
yeah, we got to do with Brother Brood-Eye. We pan away, or I guess we get it's like the Shining reveal, right? Like
Yeah.
when we
With
pan,
the woman in the tub.
Huggins. We get the kind of the over the shoulder shot where we can see they have now become what they actually are, and when we get the reveal of the mom is Angus, but he's dead. So
This freaked me out so much as a kid.
it's very disturbing.
And then Terry does the shittiest thing.
Just chucks the fucking
Sack
dog.
of shits that dog's corpse just on the ground.
Which, to be
This.
fair, if you think you're hugging your mom and it's a dead dog,
Yeah.
I'm not going to gently put it down.
But you don't know it's dead. It could just be Angus.
I mean,
I
that
was
dog
asleep.
is dead as hell.
Well, yeah, but
But it's hard to tell. Angus
Terry
already
also thought he
stunk.
was hugging a ghost. So
Yeah, true. Well, I mean,
Then you set it down.
so, okay, here's my question. And we'll get to the Angus stuff. There's more Angus stuff to come. But Angus was upstairs. So, but he's very dead through the movie, right? After
Yeah.
this point. So did Terry kill him by did he choke the dog?
I assume he was already dead upstairs because he wasn't moving.
Right. So then it was just the entity brought it into.
That's what I assume.
Okay, because I was like, oh, is it a thing where it's like
With this movie,
Terry
I just try
killed
not
the
to
dog
question it.
because he's he's hugging his mom so tight. I'm like, oh, is he choking this old dog?
Oh, he already graduated from the moths to pets?
I mean, well, at least in this one, he's not purposely doing it.
Oh, okay. Not
Yeah.
yet.
So we get the shot, Al and Glenn come out. They see Terry, and Terry does seem genuinely fucked up about the dead dog. I assume even if, old Angus stank, this was his best friend's dog, probably fucked up that
yeah,
it's like,
they
oh,
all
did I kill
felt
this?
sorry about it for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, we cut to the next day.
He's like,
and
I'm
it's
sorry,
like,
your dog died.
here's your old ass dog's dead, loser, and it's like, oh, fuck, okay.
And then he goes, yeah, he was 97. He was probably going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Steven Dorff's never owned a fucking dog.
yeah. Okay.
What horrible ass acting is that?
Growing up, I didn't really have pets. We tried a couple, but one of my parents was just not a big fan of pets, so they would always kind of go find another home somewhere. So I cannot relate to being a child and having a pet die. I assume it's very
horrible.
Horrible.
I have 2 dogs right now. I'm taking a week off
Yeah.
if one of them dies.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
definitely.
a
And
cat.
if anybody tries to speak to me, I'll kick you in the teeth.
Yeah. I have a cat that I've raised from a kitten, and he does fucking nothing all day, and I would
As it
jump
should
in
be.
front of a bullet for that fucking
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
And when he dies, I'm going to be a wreck. So, and the thing here, too, to add is that Steven Dorff, Glenn is a young enough character that if this dog is as old as he says it is, he's probably always known that dog his entire
he would
life.
be wrecked right now.
Yeah, this is like a parent dying.
I remember when my dogs ran away when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah. And he's just like, it's fuck. He was old anyway. Fuck that dog. And they just go about it. That's the quickest recovery I've seen. This kid went through all stages of grief in about 15 seconds.
Did you see that back patch, though?
That Killer Dwarfs backpack.
Killer Dwarfs.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, all right. Well, you want to come over and mess around later? That's what Glenn says to
Yep.
Terry. And I have, that was my go-to dating line in my 20s. Hey. So Terry goes home. We get the brief shot of Terry's home life. Now we know his mom passed away. He immediately sees a
He
note.
immediately sees that his dad cannot spell business.
He cannot spell business. How did he actually spell it? Bussiness.
Bussiness.
Oh, I'm away on bussiness. Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
Okay, well, maybe we know what the dad's actually up to. So 2 S's in the beginning of business.
Bussines.
Gone on bussiness, back later. Bussy. On that
So,
bussiness.
His dad is clearly ham-boned. His dad's
Someone's
drinking in
getting
the
the ham
day.
bone.
Oh, yeah. And he is ham boned and he's getting his ham boned.
Boned.
But what we also see is that this house is missing the proverbial woman's touch. It's a fucking mess. So it looks like both Terry and Terry's dad are not taking it well. The house is a fucking pigsty. Open pizza boxes everywhere. Trash that needs to be taken out.
Like Terry goes straight for the pizza.
He just fucking chomps on some question mark old pizza that's just lying open.
There's a trash bag, not in a trash can. Just a trash bag laying open next to the pizza.
Next to the pizza, right. And, of course, the pizza box itself is open. I don't know about y'all, but if something's left open, I'm like, That's how cockroaches get there. So we now finally... Glenn is kind of grieving Angus again, and we know that because he's looking at his dog bowl.
Probably like all that wasted food.
Yeah. He's like, I would eat that. I'd eat that kibble. So now we see Al again being kind of a, sister, kind of comforting.
Hey there, dipshit.
Yeah.
How you
hey there,
doing?
you little dumbass, you little dumb idiot.
Sorry about our dog.
So we have kind of a classic in this point, all the parents are gone. There are no parents to be had in this entire movie, which is kind of a classic child, horror movie with kids involved. Like, there's always like, where the fuck are the parents? They're always just gone. Have y'all seen Skinamarink?
No,
I have not yet.
Can't necessarily recommend it, but that's like the ultimate.
I've just heard a ton of mixed reviews on that one.
That's the most mixed-ass movie I could ever see.
People are like, it's terrifying, or like, it's the most fucking boring movie ever.
It is. You know what? We'll do that later. Let's get through this.
You're just like, yes.
I mean, and also, yes. So now the Al's dipshit friends are back.
Oh, her friends are the worst.
Al immediately goes back to hateful teenage sister mode.
Oh, yeah.
Because Glenn's going to call the mom and dad because he's, like, lonely and misses them. And his fucking dog just died. And Al just clicks the phone.
Al
like,
wants a
no.
boyfriend.
She wants a boyfriend. That's all she gets.
Al's trying to get that Eric D.
Yeah, trying to get that Eric.
And what's up with that something about Mary here?
That's absolutely what I fucking put. There's something about Mary looking ass.
So
damn it.
We're
beat
all
me to
in
the punch.
agreement. She just took jism straight to the bangs.
Yeah, that's absolutely that whole thing. We cut to Terry with no dad home. He is rocking the fuck out. It's just like this kind of thrash music, but then all of a sudden he tosses on his fucking bed
rainbow
sheet,
blankie?
his rainbow blankie, and starts basically reciting the open to like a Tolkien ripoff, where it's like, when the Goblin Kings ruled the land. And I'm like, anyway, man, like, you want to join my D&D game, dude? Terry, you look pretty cool, man.
And
and
he'd
this
be
goes
that guy
on
in your game that allows no fun.
Huh?
Terry would be the guy in your game who lets no fun.
Oh,
in.
yeah, he's a grognard. He's like a real old, like, rules-based, like, this is just loot, killing, I don't want any humor.
Yeah, no metagaming.
Yeah, this is very serious.
No having fun with your character.
Yeah, no. So we learn about the group Sacrifix.
Sacrifice.
But it's YX, so Sacrifice.
But it's actually based off a real Toronto band, Sacrifice.
Really?
Yes.
Did they have the YX in their name?
Yeah, so somebody, I don't know if it was the director, who actually saw an album of the band.
Uh-huh.
It is a Toronto metal band.
Okay.
And they had nothing to do with it other than they stole their name and the way they actually spelled it and like the logo. Like they just lifted, they're like, oh, they write their name cool, and stole it and put it on this thing.
Well, great artist steal, you know?
So wait, this isn't their music though?
This is not their music, no.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I wonder who made the music, because I think I remember seeing that the director actually was involved in, like, either he was a musician or he was around the Toronto music scene. Speaking of Toronto music scene, the guy who plays Terry, whose name I'm not going to scroll out.
Something
3
Tripp.
pages. Tripp, yeah, Trippipa.
Yeah, wasn't it like Lewis?
Louis Tripp.
Louis Trippy.
So he reprised his role as Terry in the sequel, and then basically did nothing until I think some Australian electronic music guy did a video based kind of on The Gate, and then he reprised it in that. But so now Terry is apparently a musician himself. He does like electronic music, I think, and he looks like I do. Like, he's just a bald white guy with a red beard. And I was very shocked that that's what that guy looks like now. But, you know, he's doing well, apparently, which is
good for him.
Yeah.
I like his work.
Yeah, he does great shit here. So, this is a classic. This is really kind of in the Satanic Panic era, where, especially like if you play the record backwards, it tells you. But in this, it's kind of a nice subversion. So the songs themselves, of sacrifice tell you how to summon the demons, and it's what the Dark Book or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think they call it as like, it's like the Bible for demons or something like that. And their actual songs tell you legitimately how to summon demons, but if you play it backwards, it actually tells you how to get rid of the demons.
Banish them, biatch.
Which I
Be gone.
Which I thought was like
that's useful.
That's a solid, you know.
Yeah.
Good on sacrifice. Good guys.
Well, they're probably
Those
like,
guys.
oh, someone might actually do this.
So yeah, so we cut back after that. All of Al's dipshit friends are basically
Suck.
teasing.
They're the worst.
Yeah, they're teasing Glenn. They're trying to go to the beach, and they're all acting like an asshole because Glenn's like, "Why? Like, no, like you should stay here." And then finally, they start to pick on Glenn, and Al at least goes, "Hey man, be cool. His dog just died." Like for the first time, she's like, "Oh hey, remember our household pet that y'all I'm sure are familiar with? It died last night mysteriously."
So yeah,
maybe
they're
be nice
not
to my brother.
acknowledging the dead dog, and also they bring up the magic again. Mm-hmm. It's an illusion.
Yeah, we get that,
It's
and
an
then
illusion. I floated across the living room, you dick.
and then the something about Mary hair girl says Tress uncool.
Oh,
And
geez.
it's like, it's Trey uncool. Like, Tress isn't a word. It's French, you idiot. And you're in Canada, in Toronto, which neighbors fucking Quebec. Like, you should know better. Just saying. All right. We get an F slur dropped out of nowhere. Glenn drops it on
by
Eric.
Glenn, by this child,
By the child. And he just does it,
in the most little kid way.
but he like looks back over his shoulder, just boom, drops it hard, and then
hauls ass.
Yep. He knew what he did. He knew it was wrong, and he got the fuck out of there. So they're like, "Come on, we got to go to the beach." And Al's just like, "I have got to let this guy touch my boob." So
Just the one.
She seems to be like, she's abandoning Glenn, you know? She kind of looks back forlornly at the house. Glenn's watching her leave, and she's like, "I just got to get it," you know? She's just, the hormones are raging.
She is
So-
making Eric run an errand before he can get a piece.
That is true.
Of Al.
She is asking him to do something. We find out shortly what that is. And look, man,
Crazy.
this guy,
Crazy.
this guy must want it
Jesus.
too. You know what I mean? Because it's some heavy shit that she has him do. So we cut back to Glenn, and we know he is also still sad about Angus because he's petting a picture of Angus in a photo book.
Glenn's the only one who cares that dog died.
Yeah.
And he only cares sometimes.
Yeah,
He's not even 100%.
He's inconsistent with his caring.
Yeah. So he puts, he's kind of looking around, and basically things are starting to kind of get weird again. But before that happens, he opens up an old birthday present that he had under his bed.
This is like the most Homer Simpson-ass present ever. Mm-hmm. He loves model rockets, so he got his sister a model rocket that he could launch with her.
Right. Yeah.
No, he got her the launch, the sure launch.
Oh,
He got her the igniter,
So,
basically,
he
so
got
they
her
don't
an
have to use matches.
an accessory for his rockets.
Yes, but
Because he
remember,
has to have supervision.
all his rockets, they were originally her rockets. That's why she was throwing
Oh,
them out.
that's
And she's
true.
like, they've been in my room for 3 months, and you haven't touched them. So she was a dork also, too.
Yes. So we are seeing a post-dork Al, you know. And I think, does she go like Alexander? Does she correct it?
The very first time he
Yeah.
calls her out, she goes, "It's Alexandra."
So, you know, she's growing up. She's becoming a teen. So it's kind of that thing where obviously she was a dorky littler sister, you know, big sister to him, but kind of got him into the dorky thing she was into. So anyway, as he's looking over this, now Glenn is completely alone in the house. Terry's off at his house doing wizard shit or whatever. And Glenn goes down, and we start to kind of get more weird stuff happening around the house. We get like the light in the kitchen is kind of swaying back and forth. The back door is open. We're kind of getting like, this is the dream, right?
Yeah.
Like, the dream's kind of
It's
happening
having
again.
that real dream feel again.
Yeah. He goes out, and the bug zapper is kind of just short circuiting, so he unplugs it. So now, now there's a moth like sitting in the tree, like, got him. Like, tonight we ride, you know? So they'll get their revenge. He goes out, he looks at the hole, he notices, I guess, finally for the first time, that it is now smoking. Like, it is full on.
Never a good sign when
Full
your
on-
sinkhole is smoking.
Yeah, dry ice in a pool.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of gimmick going at the bottom of that thing. So he goes back in. The vibes are just all off on the house. He opens the door. He thinks something's wrong. And hey, it's Terry. So he's going to go show Terry the hole in the deal. Terry in what in any other movie would probably be the thing, the kid just being a nerd and being wrong about things, 100% is correct at every step of this movie. He's like, yeah, you got demons, and here's what happened. Like, we summoned them because you dropped blood. This is a demon egg. I've got all this, devil shit in my house because my parents, one of them's dead and the other one doesn't love me and is off on bussiness.
I mean, I love this whole part just because of the lines.
Yeah.
I think I know what this means. With the levitation and all that other weird stuff. You got demons.
You got demons. You got demons.
So you know how
demons is so good.
any old horror movie, the thought
like
is always,
termites. Yeah, you got demons.
if you have cell phones, the movie's over instantly. Right. Okay, so here's the problem with this movie. If you have cell phones and you call the police or you call your parents, they come home. Now there's demons out. Parents alert the National Guard. The army comes in. There's demons everywhere.
Yeah, the Vatican.
What they don't have is some scrawny little punk kid who happens to be the demon expert, and all you needed was Terry all along.
All you needed. That was
So
it.
if you call and you get the adults involved, well, then it fucks everything up, and hell on earth actually continues to exist to this day.
Yeah. And then
Because
we're in Free Jack.
Oh shit!
Oh,
that's,
no.
That's
That's the alternate timeline.
Then we can't drink the water.
Right. Because it's got demons in it.
Got demons in it.
It's
You got demons.
You got demons. So they
you got demons.
This is also very good kid logic where they're like, fuck, this huge hole in the ground. What do we do? They just like throw a fucking slat of wood over it. Like a little
Yep,
fucking
you cover it
pallet.
up.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll deal with it tomorrow. So we now find out the errand that Eric was sent off to do was to transport Angus's corpse to be disposed of at animal control.
How loving for their pet.
Well, I mean, and so he does this. He looks over. I guess
They're closed?
Animal control's closed because a city, that's a city utility kind of deal. Like, this ain't like it's the fucking shelter. This is like they got to do that shit. They got to pick up roadkill like every day of the week. You know what I mean? What if you got like a bear? It's Toronto. There's black bears up there, right? I think. I don't know. Are there black bears?
there's probably bears.
There's
Yeah,
bears.
we'll go with bears. So, anyway, cool guy Eric was going to drop off Angus's corpse, but it's closed. They cuts over and Angus's dead dog face is like literally kind of like looking at him like, this is what you were going to do to me, So he's like, well, fuck it. He just drives back. This is where we get the line, the dark book is the Bible for demons, which is just fucking awesome. I also
perfect.
love, they just sell the Necronomicon, but like the actual one.
Yeah, the actual demon summoning one.
Right, like if it were real and you could just go buy it and like summon.
He's like,
demons.
oh, I went down to B. Dalton's and got this.
Yeah. It was just at the fucking Barnes and Noble,
Yeah,
next
I
to
was at
fucking
Walden
whatever.
Books next to the pretzel place.
Actually, you got it at what's the one that's in every fucking airport?
Oh, geez, what is that called?
You know what I'm talking about?
Hudson News.
Yeah, Hudson News. I got it at the Hudson News.
If he's in Canada, if we have any Canadian listeners, he got it at Canadian Tire. That's where he got it.
Okay.
That is their be-all, catch-all of everything. Is the Canadian Tire.
Canadian Tire.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I have been to Toronto. Lovely fucking city. Love Toronto.
I've never been to Canada.
I only went recently, but went there to actually just kind of go somewhere. It was like a little vacation kind of deal. I had a friend who got married in Rochester, and so we just kind of drove, upstate New York. We just basically went and saw Niagara Falls, drove over the Canadian border, stayed a couple days in Toronto. Lovely fucking place. Real cool
Nice.
city. Yeah. It's kind of like, I kind of got like an Austin vibe from it, except it was like less douchey. I don't know. But it's kind of got, how Austin has a lot of greenery. Like there's some really cool,
Yeah, there's
the
some nice
highway
areas.
system around Toronto like has some really pretty greenery and stuff.
That's
so.
my favorite thing living there was my drive to work.
Yeah.
Because I had to drive all through the hills to get there.
So kind of a similar vibe, I think, But yeah, Toronto, lovely stuff, lovely people too.
The
guy-
Toronto Leafs fans can get fucked.
Okay, good to know.
So minus them.
I want to give a shout out to the guy at the nice weed store that I went to, because I was like, hey, it's legal here. I had never been somewhere fully legal. We could just walk in a shop and. Have you ever been to like a, well, I don't know, Joe, probably not, but.
Because I'm a fucking square.
Yeah, because you're a nerd. Like, normal dispensaries in America, they're like fucking, it's always a process. They're like locked down like Fort Knox. Like you gotta like.
Very weird. Yeah, in Colorado I've been.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah.
In this one, it was like literally just
remember
walked in
those.
the shop and it was like a guy and his mom was hanging out there. And he was like the nicest dude. And it's just like, you just buy it and go. Like, it's not like a weird, like, gotta see your ID and all that stuff. They're like, No, cool. Just here you go. Pay. And
Here you go.
okay,
Enjoy your
bye.
weeds.
Yeah, enjoy your weed. Have a good time. Yeah.
Have fun with your pots.
All good here, right? Have a
Yeah.
good time,
And then I found out really quick though that I don't think I've ever liked weed. So we see we cut back to now because the SPCA or whatever was closed, animal control. Fucking Eric's just lugging
Shit-sacking this dog around.
Shit-sacking the corpse of Angus, hitting his head against the fucking like door frame or whatever. He's like, this fucking dog. Glenn and Terry are talking about the demon book. Terry's just info dumping about sacrifice and who they were. We cut to a picture of the band, and it's I don't know if we've already passed it as we're kind of playing it now, but they kind of show them and they're doing the light as a feather, stiff as a board thing, and the band like is just the nerdiest. It had to have been some of the crew just like try to look like a metal band. They're like
Look like a hair metal band.
it fucking ruled, and apparently the whole band died in a plane crash.
Right after they made the first album. Yeah.
Yep. So they only have that one record, you know. It fucking ruled. So the whole deal is this only can happen, this kind of summoning these demons when the planets are aligned. And Terry just happens to know that kind of thing's like going on right now, you know, because I guess he would also be big into astronomy or something. So we cut to Eric. What we figure out that Eric did was he just went and buried.
Piece of shit.
Just went and buried. Well, I mean, in a way, he buried the dog in the family's backyard. Which is like not the worst thing, but also this is just a pit, so it's more like he just
hucked the dog into the
into the
smoking
hole,
sinkhole,
which was covered, and then just recovered it. So they'll probably blame it on the kids.
Yep.
But he gets back in the car and he has dirt on his hands. He's kind of like trying to wipe the dirt off, and he's not really doing it. And I was like, "Oh, Eric's gonna go fuck off and die somewhere." Like I thought the demons were gonna come after his ass.
Oh, I wish.
Wait, we're not that lucky. Spoiler alert: Eric lives, and it's fucking dumb. So Terry's in the back. He's like trying to do a banishment ritual on the demons. He's like reading out of the, I guess he transcribed the lyrics of the backwards fucking record or whatever. And they're like, oh, it didn't work. You got to do it again. But as he's kind of reading it, Al gets home and she's like, what are you fucking nerd faces up to? And Terry just info dumps like, so we summoned like he just breaks it all down. He's like, so Glenn's he pricked his finger in this hole that contained a demon egg, and that cracked it open, and then the dog died. That's a sacrifice. You got fucking demons. And Al's just like, okay. She basically is not even like really fucking paying attention to this because she's just trying to be a good sister.
Yeah.
She's got a little bag in her hand. And Eric was like, I thought you were going to the mall today. And she's like, I did because I had to pick up something. Or no, I thought you were going to the beach. No, we went to the mall. I had to pick you up one thing, one special thing. It's a new model rocket.
Of course it is.
Good
But
sister.
apparently, at least
Good
the ritual
sister.
worked because when they lifted up the boards, at least at first, the ground was sealed.
It was sealed, right. But
But
they didn't do it completely.
no.
Because the gate started unlatching itself.
Yeah. Al the sister, is great. I think that Al says no, wait, it's a little later that we get to it. We get a 1-2 punch of inappropriate problematic language. So they shoot the thing off. This marks like the halfway point of the movie. They shoot the rocket off, it goes in the air. The shot is like 50 fucking seconds, and then it's a slow fade to black. And I looked and I was like, this is like literally the halfway point of the runtime. So we
they're
get a
letting
nice
you know.
commercial here.
We've crested now.
Yeah, now it's time to we're ready to go.
Oh, it's time to go.
Baby, we're ready to go. So we cut back. The three, our main trio, are kind of sitting, snacking, playing cards at the house at night. And wouldn't you know it, it's the fucking dipshit friends, all back and ready to dipshit it up. Just the girls this time, just the asshole sisters. So right away, one of them looks to Glenn and says, "Don't get all R-worded." And then they're like, "What are you guys doing?" And one of the other dipshit sisters say,
She drops the F slur, but as a verb.
As an active verb, like effing off, but not what you think effing off. So never had heard that one before.
No.
All new uses of problematic language. So the girls are doing fucking facials.
And that's
and,
what you should expect from Gen X.
Yeah.
And then they go back and forth for a while. It's like, why don't you suck my nose till my head caves in?
That was actually a great one.
They kind of do, yeah. Like what would become the Sandlot bit where they just dog each other back and forth for a little bit.
Yeah. So it's kind of almost like they're assholes, but there's kind of like a fun little back and forth.
It's how they banter.
Yeah, it's witty bants.
If that's his sister's friends, he's undoubtedly been putting up with these assholes for years.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. So anyway, everyone's going to sleep. The asshole sisters are there and like hanging out with Al, but Al seems kind of like bored for some reason. Maybe she's thinking about Eric or something. And so, of course, Terry and Glenn are looking more through the book of evil.
Yeah, the dark book.
The dark book. So we get our first. So everyone's going to sleep. We get a shot of a family photo in the hallway. We'll come back to that later. And we see the first silhouette of something non-human skulking about the house. Dun, 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 dun. But before we get to see what that is, we cut back to Glenn sleeping, and the fucking moths are back. The moths, they're back.
They are just relentless.
And they're ready. And this time, man, the moths are ready to go. I told you, when he unplugged that thing, they're like, now's the chance to strike. And strike they do. They fucking break open the window, and it's just a moth attack on poor little Glenn.
He does get overpowered by the moths.
He gets overpowered by the moths. Now, the good thing is moths don't like have teeth or stingers, like
all they do is just kind of flutter.
They flutter about. They start off as like, cat, like a centipede or whatever.
Wormy things.
Fuzzy, furry caterpillars, and they become moths. He's swatting them off. We have some great blue screen effects of the moths.
Straight horse shit.
Garbage. Just terrible stuff. They would
have done better with just fake moths on strings.
Yeah, absolutely. Just fluttering them about. Yeah, absolutely. So at first, Glenn leaves and goes and wakes up Al to like kind of go, oh shit, what's going on? And I was thinking he's going to come back in, everything's going to be fine. The bedroom will be fine. No, not the case. Everything is fucked up. We had previously seen when this whole thing was going on, Terry was laying asleep in the little, there's like a little bed, kind of a little cot bed. Yeah. So when they come back, they still see, the form of Terry, or so they think, laying on the bed. They're trying to wake him up. We get the classic, Terry walks in from behind them. He's like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, what? And they pull back the fucking blanket, and it is not
poor sweet Angus.
Again.
Sitting there with his tongue out, his eye out.
Respect.
Tybor doesn't like dogs.
Hates Angus.
What the fuck did a shaggy little dog do to you to hurt you? Because not only is that, but he's also fucking smoking. The corpse of this dog is like emitting vapor. And now we're starting to go.
Now we're going.
Out of nowhere, just big fucking Hulk hands start reaching.
Wet, slimy looking hands.
Yeah, come out from under the bed. The monster under the bed is here. It's real, and it's going after
and it's getting some
the
Al.
kids. Yeah, it's getting after Al. They managed to pull her away. And the kids manage to escape. So the dipshit sisters come out. They all start to run down. They're going to escape. They open the front door. And what did you know? It's Glenn and Al's parents. Except, Dad starts immediately choking.
Bad.
He says that line, and we get the distorted voice.
Yep.
Starts grabbing and choking Glenn. Glenn, in resisting, reaches up, grabs his father's face, and we get fucking awesome first practical
so he just
gore effects.
Gouges his dad's eyes, and the result of that, his dad's face just pours out of his face.
Yeah, it's like milk comes out, like freaky
his
milk
face
comes
turns
out
into dad's soup.
Yeah, and then that happens. We cut back, and it is horrifying. It is just an empty, ripped up hole of a face. Glenn's hands are covered in goop.
Dad
the mom
chowder.
is cackling. The dad's head then falls off and is just rotten egg on the fucking concrete. And when I saw this, not knowing this movie, I jumped out of my seat and I said, let's fucking go.
Dude, as a kid, that was the scariest scene ever.
That would have fucked me up.
Melt
Oh, yeah.
was so good.
I would have been fucked up by that about until like 21. Like I would have just been like, can't deal with
Can't
that kind
touch
of shit.
dad's face.
Yeah, can't touch dad's face. So, but then when they look back outside, they're gone. So whatever this is like fucking with all the kids. And so the thing is about this movie is now it's just a fucking race to the end. We're about halfway done, maybe like a little over halfway.
And it's
look, man,
nonstop.
the rest of it is just fucking wild. It's just crazy fucking shit. So as we go into the backyard, we look to the pit. It has reopened, and we eventually get our first appearance of this group of big demon goofs, or BDGs for short. They appear and start terrorizing the house. They look really good close, or kind of like in the first shot. Then close up, they look kind of bad. There's a very optimal distance.
Fun fact about them: it's all forced perspective.
They're
all of it.
Yeah,
large
they're
men
all
in rubber suits.
Large men in rubber suits.
Even the backyard shot, that's blue screen.
No, backyard shot, forced perspective. Everything
Bedroom
except
shot, forced perspective.
for when Terry is stomping on the one.
Okay,
It just wiggles.
I can't wait to that. Okay. So now they're like, finally, we're going to try to call mom or the police or whatever. We get she looks at the phone. We hear "You've been bad."
That scared me so much
And
as
the
a kid.
fucking phone lights on fire. Like fire is coming out of the receiver or the speaker into the phone. And then the phone does this goopy melting collapse,
into itself.
Like implosion. It's fucking awesome. This is so good. The fire melty phone. They're like, we got to go get the spell to take this away. It's in the basement. They're like, who's going to go? So we get the whole group's slowly going down. In a really cool point, as they're going down, we cut back to that family photo that I mentioned earlier. But now in the photo, everyone except Glenn, weirdly, is dead, and like blood's pouring out of their faces, like mom, dad, and Al.
All
and they're
dead.
like, what are you looking at? And he goes, don't worry about it. And like moves on. And I'm like, oh, Glenn's starting to like getting a little hard, Glenn kind of getting cool. So starting to rule a little bit.
He's getting a little tougher.
So they get out the dark book. They're trying to find the spells to go back. The book lights on fire like out of a scene of fucking Hereditary. I actually kind of thought, I make another Hereditary joke here in a bit, but I kind of got, it's nowhere near that fucked up.
No.
But I don't know, some of the vibes I kind of got, like
It's
the
a very
weirdness.
it's like an 80s Hereditary.
Just like the weird, again, like the dream kind of nightmarishness of it, like the
And
logic.
things that are way shockingly darker than you expect to happen.
Yeah. I mean, we're dealing with levels here.
Yeah.
But sure.
Well, knowing where this movie could have
scaled
gone.
to a
Yes.
late 80s.
Yeah. And actually, knowing where it could have gone, maybe could have
Knowing
been
where they wanted it to go,
Yeah.
but then they were like, let's keep it PG-13.
We do get, as the gang leaves the basement and goes back out in the backyard, one flip transition from scene to scene that does not happen in the rest of the movie. They just did this one, like it just flips and the kids are walking outside. I just thought that was an interesting shot. The dipshit sisters run back in to go die or whatever. So they go, okay, what are we going to do? Because we don't have the magic book anymore. They're like, we'll use the Bible. And the one funny thing was the dipshit sisters are looking through it at first, and they're like, we'll find something. Yeah, we went to Sunday school. And I was like, oh, I definitely remember learning the parts of the Bible where you send demons back to hell.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the sinkhole is purple and awesome looking
Yeah.
at this point.
Bisexual lighting in the sinkhole.
As it should be. Because that's the sinkhole that I want to party in.
So now we're getting the effect. They do the reverse shot effect where the smoke is going back into the hole because they're reading the Bible at it, and that is making the demons angry.
Bored. Oh.
Or bored. That's also true. What I do like about this is the idea that like any powerful words can work, because they're like, these things are older than the Bible,
Yeah.
but it's like,
and they don't
know.
speak English.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, oh, it's like there's power in any kind of magic words. So all's going well until Terry decides to step close to the hole. They literally say, Terry, don't stand so close
Please
to the
don't do
hole.
that, Terry.
Yeah, and he's like, it's fine, I'm almost done anyway. And he is immediately falls like an asshole into the hole. We get a cool, like the zoom shoot of him going down. And buddy, this is Louis' fucking... This is the apex of his acting. His facials in this fucking scene where he's like dealing with the demons here in the bottom of this as they start to bite him, and there's just like the close-ups of him being like, "Ooh!" He's just making the funniest fucking faces as these things are attacking him. He tries to climb back up out of the gate hole, because the gate is a hole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The whole, the gate is underground. You just gotta go down. And
We don't know where
over to
the
get to
actual
the gate.
gate part is. We
Yeah.
do see it later, because it's a big purple void that's
Yeah.
spinning around.
Yeah, right now we just have the sinkhole that leads to it.
So
somewhere.
now it's like some weird Gulliver's Travel shit where the little demons are like just kind of bouncing Terry's leg around. He stomps on one, which I guess that is an actual tiny size little demon.
Yeah, that's just a little puppet thing.
Yeah, a little puppet, and he's just wiggling.
And it just flails.
Yeah, just wiggles about.
Yeah, you would think it would explode at some point because he stomps on it hard
Yeah.
for a while.
No, nothing.
He just
There's
switched it to vibrate.
nothing like that, and it's still wiggling
It
on
just
the ground.
has a seizure, yeah.
Yeah, when they're cutting away. So he's climbing out. His facial acting here is great. At this point, Terry's voice was really getting on my nerves because he's just like screaming, like help, help, and his the rest of that scene, I think he's a killer. He's great, but like his voice is too like that. Slightly, it's not quite, maybe just right at pubescent, so it's cracking and breaking. He's like, help me! Like it's cracking up and down. Horrible. But just great shit. This is a fantastic scene. All things considered, though, like when he gets down there, I think the gate to the world of the old gods is kind of unremarkable. It's just a big dirt hole.
With some purple.
Yeah, with a little bit of purple glow, but like I was expecting maybe some cool stalagmites, you know? What's funny, though, is they get out of there. Terry's trying to get back to the Bible verse he reads. He just says, fuck this, chunks the Bible into the hole, and then fucking fire just explodes out of it. It rules.
It's like Power Ranger sparks and fire.
Oh, yeah, it's like absolutely the one of the Zords just hit a building, so
Yep.
that it's like that sparkler shit. But fire comes out, the lights come back on in the building, and for the second time, we think it worked, the gates closed.
And we really need to stop believing this movie when it tries to make us think everything's okay.
Yeah. So where are the dipshit sisters? So the gang comes back in, and as they're kind of assessing everything, it's like, oh, I'm thinking they're dead. Because they do mention there's 2 human sacrifices needed to complete the gate opening.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, the dipshit sisters just ran and got fucking just... They
Sure.
got, that Nightmare on Elm Street, they just got sucked to the ceiling and then into the bed and the blood poured up or
Yeah,
whatever.
the Sisters Lee. They're
Yeah, they got Johnny Depp.
Yeah. But turns out we're not that lucky. Or they're that lucky, but we are not. They're
are
just
not.
hiding in the pantry. They have ropes of garlic around their neck, which I guess this family...
I popped so much for that.
Yeah, that was huge. They got like a butter knife and a candle. They're holding it like a cross, but they've got the garlic. Huge laugh out of me because I'm like, where the fuck did they get ropes of garlic? But it turns out everything is getting spooky. The front door's open. Hey, but it's just Eric and his dipshit friends.
It's just the boys.
Yeah. So
the boys.
I'm a little
boys.
disappointed that. So they're like, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's go party. We're going to go
I
party.
got some Zima.
Yeah, I got some Zima, I got some fucking...
Bartles and James.
Jesus.
Don't
What
you
a
I
dare.
meant to bring that up. In Prehysteria, the caddies are just chugging wine coolers all
they?
the time.
Oh, I never noticed it.
It popped me so good because I remember when I worked at the liquor store, we had this one like aging yuppie that would only come in and get Bartles and James.
And get Bartles and James wine coolers? Fuck. So, at this point, Al, the sister, decides to be like the sister. She's sticking around. She's going to be here with her brother in this fucking ordeal because she knows what's going on. And the dipshit sisters are like, fine, we'll just go get fucking finger blasted by ourselves then, loser, later. And they leave. So, there is... anyway, sorry. Glenn, Al, and Terry, they kind of are just like, all right, everything's great now. They're all like, let's get some rest. We've earned it, right? So then we cut to a movie playing, and I'm like, is this Cannibal Holocaust or some shit? Like, what movie is playing on in the background of this scene? Because there's like, they're back looking at the geode, and it's got to be a horror movie.
Every time the TV's on, it's something weird.
It's something fucked up and weird. Yeah. And I'm guessing it's just something that popped the director to be like, put this on in the background.
It's probably his student films.
Yeah. So now we get my favorite, like, dream logic payoff where, Glenn and Terry are just sitting there and all of a sudden a fucking corpse just bursts through the wall. It just flops right out. And he goes, oh, it's the workman who was apparently died while making their house. This was covered earlier. But Terry goes, oh, I made that up. but it's all too real now, and he gets dragged to fucking hell.
Oh, yeah, and he belongs to the wall now.
Yeah, the wall opens up, the purple light's going, and this zombie just drags Terry into the wall.
Then the wall
closes up. Just zips right back up.
Fucking love this movie.
So Glenn is freaking out, aptly so. I mean, this is the second false happy ending we are now seeing the aftermath of. He goes back into the kitchen. It's fucked up. We are definitely now living in his nightmare, right? Like everything is going fucking crazy. He walks into the foyer. He looks up the stairs, and the fucking runes from the dark book are painted in blood on the wall up there. We cut to Hal. She's doing her like combing her hair, brushing her hair in the
doing her
fucking
Marsha
mirror.
Brady.
And it's fucking Bob from Twin Peaks, like the corpse of the fucking guy is there too. And I'm like, holy shit. And at this point, this is all going very quick. I mean, I'm watching this. We're watching this at an elevated rate, but shit is going fast.
It's
here.
one thing after another.
Yeah. So now the zombie is actually in Al's room. Al fights it off. There's chunks of boombox right at its face, just bounces right off. And it's like, how did that not hurt? Because they hit the ground, and he's actually a bunch of these little, the BDGs.
Now,
just little minions.
I would like to bring this up just for a little bit of continuity. All she did was huck a boombox at him, right?
Yeah.
And about 5 minutes from now, when the next zombie shows up, she blasts him in the eye with the shotgun. Doesn't phase him at all.
Right. Well, it's the same zombie.
Well, boomboxes were really heavy in the 80s.
But he's saying that should have done some more damage.
I'm just making a joke.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Okay,
So,
sorry for stepping on your style there.
That's okay. We just missed one of the things that always creeped me out so much as a kid.
Oh, yes.
The rat Terry.
Yeah, so Glenn... So, okay, actually, the setup to this is really good. They're like, what do we do? And they're like, Glenn, child, go get Dad's gun.
of course.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm sure this kid, this little dork, has shot a gun before. What could possibly fucking go wrong? He goes and finds, I guess, like, the gun bag or something.
They just go in the hall closet. They go downstairs and go to
It's
the
not
hall closet.
protected at all. It's just
It's
in the
87.
closet.
You don't have to lock
Yeah,
your guns
so
up
he's
now.
like rummaging through it, and all of a sudden, Terry's face with rat teeth comes out of nowhere and just starts biting Glenn. And he starts screaming for Al to come help him. Meanwhile, all the little demons are like clawing their way through the doors. It's like we're ramping up. I mean, he would absolutely have bitten through Glenn's hand by the time it takes Al to get down there. But I guess he's just not biting that hard.
Terry jaws.
Yeah, his very narrow jaw, So what popped the shit out of me is Al, with perfect improvised weapon, grabs a fucking Barbie doll off the ground and uses the leg to stab Terry in the fucking eye. So this is where we actually get some gore. It is like pops in and it shows like Terry's eye is gouged out and there is blood.
She pulls that Barbie out. That leg is red.
And that is funny to me because like Barbie legs are actually fucking dangerous. Like those things are fucking sharp little fucking feet, man. My sister had Barbies. We get an incredible smash zoom onto one of the demons. They're kind of like standing in the awning, like on the second floor.
Just glaring with those gray eyes.
And it cuts to him. It shows a small one. We get a smash zoom to an obviously different model of the demon because it changed shots. And now, shit's just going down. They get in the closet. We had the dead face of zombie Terry sucked back into the wall. Now Al's trying to load the shotgun. I guess she knows how to handle fucking guns. She keep that thing on her. She stays strapped. But now it's not Terry that comes out to attack him. It's the fucking zombie
the workman.
Maintenance man again. He comes out, gets blasted in the face, as Travis said, by the shotgun, does not stop at all. And he just grabs Al by the fucking leg and starts just dragging her ass. Like she's completely upside down. There's a lot of great shots from this part of the movie onward. And I did think it was a good touch that the zombie was missing its eye to show that it's the same thing as Terry. It's just the demons taking different form. Glenn gets tossed around a ton. We get a lot of shots of him flying.
He gets yeeted. It's so good.
And they're all good. They're all kind of like that Sam Raimi, like the
follow
shot. Yeah, real good shit. Travis, what are your thoughts on this part of the movie?
This is where it starts, where he finds the power of love.
Yes.
Because that's the only thing that can beat the demon.
Of love and light.
Love and light. And so the mega rocket from earlier, the Thunderbolt.
Oh, yes.
Has to come back into play.
Yep.
Then the floor just breaks
all those
wide open.
floors.
Yeah. This was another great scene as he's running back upstairs. The foyer, the the wood floor just crumbles beneath him, and it opens into just a yawning void, like a big chasm.
That's so good.
With the actual, what I would say is probably the actual gate, because we see kind of the bottom of it is like just this light, and shit's going fucking crazy. All the stairs are breaking.
It's like an Uncharted game.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. Everything is coming off the fucking hinges here.
Yeah, you got that.
Literally and figuratively. He finds the rocket, but as he does this, we get the arrival of the
Mega
biggest,
Beast.
Big boy.
the big bad boy, the big
The real,
bad demon.
the Dark Lord.
I don't even know what Glenn's doing at this point because he's starting to try to launch his rocket, but there's no target.
At nothing, yeah.
Yeah, inside.
So I guess he's just going to launch it at the hole?
I think he just thinks that if there's enough love and light, it will be fine. I
We
don't
get a
know.
shitload of the little minion things pouring
Yeah.
out of this big,
They're all just coming out.
gaping maw of a floor.
Yeah, if they're just coming out full force right now. They're kind of dancing up, and an enormous fucking beast begins to rise. Yeah,
A
it's the
giant
Demon
beast
King.
with big arms and then also little tiny
little
arms.
T-Rex arms too, and the tiniest whittle mouth on him. He can't
Yes.
chew nothing.
That's why he doesn't eat Glenn when he picks him up, because
Yeah.
I can't fit anything in that mouth.
And those extra arms are not practical. They
The
come out of
Demon
his
King
shoulders.
is a little fucking weird.
Yeah, he's a little campy.
So we see the real gate. The demon lord's here. Glenn goes out there, faces the demon head on, but the demon just like pat him on his whittle head.
Yeah. Well, he didn't just pat him on his.
I mean, he does something here,
He
but at
picks him
first
up, looks at him, is like, nah.
he pats him, and then he gives him a gift. I was like, oh, he's Payman now, for my second hereditary reference of the night. And then he just kind of fucks off. The Demon King just kind of like goes like, I'm gonna look at my minions
Deuce.
now. And then in a weird thing, and this is some more cool dream logic, he gives Glenn a eye in his palm, but it's like a human eye.
Also, fun fact: that's not Glenn's hand.
Whose hand is that?
That is a grown man's hand.
That makes sense why the hand is so large.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Whose eye is it?
Glenn's
the eye may be
eye.
a special event, but it's. I did watch a thing. They were like, no, if you go back and look at it now, you can see that's a grown man's
That's a
hand.
grown-ass
It's not a
man's
tiny
hand.
boy's hand.
So Glenn is like fucked up by this. He goes back to his room. He looks out the still broken window. The hole is now just spewing this dark
Kind
miasma.
of looks like he's just trying to accept everything.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess this is life now.
I guess this is the end of the world.
Hell
we did
is
it. Mm-hmm.
spewing out of my backyard hole. I have an eye hand.
Yeah, this is doom now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a miasma in the sky, like it's spreading. The darkness is growing out. Hell is on earth. He's crying. He's like, I blew it. I'm the worst guy in the world. But then he decides to get metal as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Glenn is coming back. We do get a shot of like there's a baby doll that was there in the dream in the beginning. There's some references to that. But we see the moth jar. And Glenn is like, I'm sick of it. He hurls it, He's like, I'm not going to do this shit. Fuck you, demon. I'm not going to do whatever.
Fuck you, demon.
Fuck
I'm Glenn.
you, demon. I'm Glenn. And he looks at the hand. He grabs a piece of fucking glass from the broken window.
Oh, I hate this.
Just stabs that shit right into the eye in his hand. Blood in the hand, but the eye immediately
Oh, and it's all
disappears.
puckered up. Ugh.
I don't know why there was an eye on his hand.
Just to be freaky.
I mean,
Yeah, there's no real reason.
it's dream logic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Demon grabbed me by the hand. Now I
to
have
inspire
an eye.
Geralt del Tormo later for Pan's Labyrinth.
That's true.
That's the only
I love
reason.
Pan's Labyrinth. Oh man, I think that's past our time, but I'd watch that anytime and talk about it. So yeah, now he's like, I got to do it. I got to get the rocket. I got to shoot the rocket. I got to do love and light. This bit's kind of interesting. He's like slowly kind of making his way back down.
Making his way downtown.
And so long story short, he does eventually launch the rocket.
Yeah, so he had to go back under the bed because he had to get his present.
Yeah.
The sure launch, because he kept trying to light matches, but it's too windy in the house for a match.
Because of all the hell smoke.
So he had to get the electric sure launch. Now, I did have a note here where he's looking for batteries, right? So I just wanted to pose the question, what's better, charging or batteries? Because right now you can go find new batteries if you're in this spot. If you had to charge the sure launch, I'm
you're
pretty
fucked.
sure you're not plugging in and getting electricity.
Yeah, there's no electricity. That's obvious.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean,
So you got to go old school, right?
Yeah.
You got to get big ass
Yeah,
D
you get those D
batteries.
batteries.
from a
so you better
flashlight.
at least hope there's some backup. Now, I did like how he's like, shit, it's like, he tries to do it. It's like, oh, batteries required. But he's a smart, resourceful kid. He's like, all right here. He just unscrews the flashlight. There's your D batteries, brother. I thought it'd be more of like a dilemma, but it's actually just kind of a like, oh, okay. Yeah.
No, it's just showing that now he's resourceful.
Yeah, he's resourceful. He's good. He's brave. He's a big, brave boy. The Demon King pops back out of the hole.
Like, what the fuck's going on now?
Out of nowhere. Like, what's going on? This is my house now. Get out of my property.
His little waist tentacles are just flailing
He's
about.
got all of his little weird arms. And when Glenn launches it,
We get the best special effect of the movie.
that too, but he also goes, "Happy birthday, Al!"
Nice.
And we see, are you talking about when it enters the
Yes.
body? He shoots the rocket and it just goes glorp. Just like it hits
Straight
Heals
through his
right back
tissue
up.
paper skin.
but it like just absorbs it. And at first it looks like you're fucked, dude. Nothing happened. Then the Demon King just starts he grabs Glenn by the leg and just starts ragdolling his ass. But then the power
Because he
lets him
can't
go.
eat him with that tiny ass mouth.
Yep. The power of love. He explodes. We get the best special effects shot of the movie as Glenn is forcefully ejected by the exploding Demon King.
He
out
turns
the
into a
front
damn
door.
gymnast.
What the hell did you just pause on?
don't
He is
know.
in pieces.
But buddy, it made it even better than I thought it could ever be. He's like,
Did he lose his shirt? What
he's
happened
like
there?
pixelated. He looks fine. It must have just been like a weird freeze frame.
But yeah, he's just like head over heels over and over again in the worst looking just blue screen ever.
And it rules. And I
It's
guess
so good.
the rocket had fireworks in it, but not just like one or two. It's a fucking fireworks
It's like
show.
Texas
finale.
4th of July.
Yeah. It is the Power of Houston, sponsored by fucking Centerpoint, blowing fucking fireworks up. But the sky clears, the miasma is dispelled, and in this really weird blue screen shot of like Glenn looking over the
prairie?
the ruined hellscape prairie that it is Toronto neighborhood. Yeah, there's like a weird like kind of cactus bush. He's like, well, guess I'll hit the old dusty trail. All my friends are dead.
Gotta go rustle up some supper.
So then he goes back to the house. It is a fucking mess. I mean, this house is ruined as shit.
Oh, there's no saving this house.
Yeah,
There's no
it's-
floor.
There's literally a gaping chasm because the chasm, I believe, is still there to some degree in the house.
I think it's mostly dirt now.
okay. It is still smoking. It is a
But
smoldering
Angus is
mound.
back,
Angus is back and alive.
which is the best reveal in the movie.
It is the best outcome. He's very happy to see him. Of course, Terry,
Al and Terry.
Terry and Al are also both still alive, but Angus inexplicably is also alive. Where
Because
we
he was
never
killed
saw
by the demons, I guess.
I guess we can say Terry was also quote unquote killed. So the kids they go back to the front door or for the front porch. They sit down with Angus. They kind of reflect on their whole deal. I did have a note that says everybody comes out of the closet, including Angus. And I said, wait, Angus? Glenn's very proud of himself. We do see Angus also goes back to where the hole was in the backyard to recover Terry's lost sneaker.
That lets you know everything is right in the world.
We have wrapped it all up in a tiny little bow, and we pan up to the sky, and that's it. But one thing is kind of the last shot we see of the group sitting there. You hear Glenn go, "You're my best buddy." And it's most obvious 80-yard line.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it was so sicklingly, like cloyingly sweet. I'm like, we didn't need that fucking line. Like whatever dipshit was like, got to put a little heartwarming like friendship thing at the end. Like they should be fine.
You know who they should have called was Mr. Cranston.
Okay.
He's like, see, you kids found my demons. And he just kind of gathers them up. Just kind of puts the like
throws raisins at him.
yeah,
and
gets
just
some
loads them
the
in
demon
crate.
like aha, and then like takes the tailgate of his truck off down, and they just hop back in, and he goes off. And that, as we pan up to the sky, I was like, what a perfect corny fucking ending. That's it. Credits roll. The gate.
My favorite thing about the ending is that the house is so fucked
Yeah, the
still.
house
Yeah.
does not get fixed. It doesn't
No.
go back to normal.
But we don't get to
Al,
see the
Terry, and
parents
Angus
come.
go back to normal.
Yeah.
But the house is
wrecked.
The property damage
Whoa.
is real. Okay, the parents we assume are going to come back in like a day and lose their goddamn.
They're gonna
minds.
kill Glenn.
Yeah. Fuck. Angus is fine now. Glenn's dead.
Everything's Glenn's fault already anyway.
I assume, as you said, as I said, like Glenn's dead. I'm sure someone on the internet somewhere has made a thing where like Glenn was dead the whole time. This is all because that's always what people do now.
geez.
yeah.
But what a fucking joy! This
How
movie
sure are
was.
we that this movie was not made by model rocket companies?
Yeah. That's
just
paid
to push their
advertising.
product. Because in '87, people were launching rockets.
That's
man.
true. What else?
Tybor was just like, you know what? Model rockets, that'll really resonate.
He's talking. Maybe there's a big model rocket company in Toronto, and they're like, "We'd love to sponsor your movie."
I was